Hey guys, Andy here. Another head-to-head for you today. I have my Nexus 6 on the left against the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 on the right. Obviously the Nexus 6 sort of a year-old flagship device now, and even when it was flagship, it wasn't necessarily top-end flagship, if that makes sense. It was Google's flagship, but it was never quite as powerful as some of the others out there. It's running Android 6.0.1, it's got the Snapdragon 805, a quad-core 2.7 GHz Crate 450 CPU, Adreno 420 GPU, and 3 GB of RAM. The Redmi Note 3 is on Android 5.0.2. It has the MediaTek MT6795 Helio X10 chipset with an octa-core 2 GHz Cortex A53 CPU. And the GPU is a PowerVR G6200, and it also has 3 GB of RAM. So it might be an interesting matchup just for those interested in the UK. The Nexus 6 can be had for about £250, and the Redmi Note 3 can be imported for £180 or under if you're lucky. So it's the Redmi Note 3 is a budget device. The Nexus 6 I would probably class as mid-range. Let's see how they get on though. So we'll start things off with my usual Angry Birds 2 opening test. Try and tap the icon at the exact same time. The Note 3 looks to take the early lead. I use Angry Birds 2 just because it seems to be more of an intensive opening for an app. Some apps open almost instantly, you're not really going to see any difference at all. But with Angry Birds 2, because it does take a fair bit of time, I guess that gives the devices a chance to show their power, really, if they can open quicker than the other one. But actually the Nexus 6 sneaks through and opens up before the Redmi Note 3. So the first round, or the first opening to Motorola. And I thought, well, it was very close, let's run it once more. And I've cut this out because basically the Nexus 6 pretty much froze. You see here the Redmi Note 3 is opening. And then I waited for a good minute or so more. In fact, I know it was a minute because the Redmi Note 3 screen started to dim. I don't really know what happened to the Nexus 6, but it wasn't particularly good. In the end, I pressed the home key and came back out. But obviously, you don't particularly want to see all of that. So in the end, I decided let's just reboot both the devices. Nice fresh start, and we'll go into Geekbench 3, the benchmarking application. I did give them a couple of minutes after the reboot as well, just to ensure anything they might do at startup was all finished running, and also things would cool down a bit in case that was a factor. And we'll skip forward to the end, and we see the Nexus 6 comes in with a score of 3100 on the multi-core. It obviously only having 4 cores, and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 having octa-core. It's interesting how much longer the test takes for the Redmi Note 3. That back in the day, that used to be an indication that it wouldn't score as well, but as the Redmi Note 3 score comes through, 4,300. So interestingly, the single score is lower because I guess the clock speed is slower, but the multi-score is higher because it's got more cores. So I guess you give that to Redmi Note 3. I think we're more interested by the multi-core score. Now outside to check the GPS. Both devices are connected on Wi-Fi to download the AGPS data. So I've reset the AGPS. We go back into the app, and we see that the Redmi Note 3 locks on already. Now I've had this happen in a variety of other tests. Neither of my Nexus devices connect particularly fast to GPS. In fact, I've cut out 30 seconds of footage there, and it's still not connected. We're waiting. I mean, I can tell you, I used it for pretty much a year. I used it for my sat nav and everything else, and there we go, it's finally connected. And I never actually had a problem in locating, so I don't know how relevant it is. Now we're back inside for the speaker test. We're going to start off with regular sort of music.
Tell me what to do, I'll be right there for you. Tell me what to say, tell me what to do, I'll be right there for you. Tell me what to say, no matter if it's true, I'll say it all for you, for you, for you. No matter if it's
I used to be the type of
I'll
kid
say it all for you, for you, for you, for you.
out the quiet parts that I find in the garbage. A frame can put tires on it, headphones on it, straight ahead. Kids try and stop this white butler even trying to put up a fight's nonsense. But I think I like ish. But if this is all there is for me, I'll just lit up in my conscience. What about them rhymes?
As you would expect with the Nexus's front-facing speakers, much louder, much better noise than the Redmi Note 3.
Essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. Essentially gave organizations like
Oh, getting a little bit mixed up, sorry. Try again.
Essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. Also overturned a lot of the rules and laws. It also overturned a lot of the rules and laws. And now we're in the situation where people are clamoring for the Google's.
So, I mean, I don't think you'd expect anything else. The Nexus 6 does have amazing speakers, and yes, it sounds better, clearer, louder. And I know the Redmi Note 3 has a backward-facing speaker, but I can't help that. I need to operate it facing up, and most people watching videos obviously looking at the screen. Now, we've done something new here, because I have a light sensor now. So I'm turning off adaptive brightness on both devices, and I'm turning their brightness up to full. I'm then going to open up a pure white image, and I'm going to basically measure the brightness from the screen. So we see on the Nexus 6, it's around the 480s. 484 was the best we saw at that point. 494, a couple of times 494, 483. So just to show you there on the felt that it does go down to 0. It's not that the lights from the side are affecting. So actually the Redmi Note 3 has the brighter screen there. We're moving, only just mind you, very close, and to be honest, both actually pretty poor by modern standards. I think my Note 5 clocks up over 700, the Nexus 6 clocks up over 600, so both actually quite poor. We're moving on to the browser test. We'll kick things off, if I can get it to list the BBC mobile website. The Nexus 6 sneaking through. Yep, the Nexus 6. Again, they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi. Both pretty smooth, I would say. No issues in that respect. So the Nexus 6 taking the first one. We're then going to go to NFL.com for the second site. And the Nexus 6, again, I mean, there's not a lot. Yep, and yeah. I think the Nexus 6 still just, again, really not much in it there. They're both very much the same, which is interesting because in the Note 3 hammered it with the, well, I suppose the single core wasn't much better on the benchmark. The multi-core was. And we're going to go to the last, theverge.com. And the Nexus 6, once again, is the quicker to load. So, interesting set of results, fairly evenly matched, I would suggest. You maybe would just, it comes perhaps down to some of the aesthetics, or if you particularly want good speakers, or maybe if GPS is really important to you, that might be a deciding factor. But all in all, both good devices for sort of £250 and under, I would suggest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.